All right, man. Welcome to Hot Takes, the show where I react to your hot takes. And look, it's going to be a fun next couple of months of hot takes as the draft rolls on by and free agency rolls on by. We're going to hear a good amount of fun to legitimately deranged hot takes in this time period. It's always a fun time of the year. Let's start with my guy, Dragon the Abandoner, who has two hot takes for me. Cam Ward or bust. Q, if they don't take one of these quarterbacks and Cam Ward or Sanders has a CJ Stroud or Jaden Daniels type rookie season. Wait, is it Cam Ward or bust? Is it quarterback or bust? Because you just mentioned Sanders, not Cam Ward specifically. Okay, interesting. Everyone is getting fired, and it would be a national sports narrative for the Browns for years that they could have had Cam in past, and Carter couldn't have enough sacks to ever silence that narrative. Well, let's actually, before I even address that, you left another comment, so let me go ahead and look at the comment here. All right, so 2 days before this, you said, what happens if the Browns pass on Shedeur Sanders for, say, Abdul Carter, and Shedeur has a Jaden Daniels or C.J. Stroud like rookie season? The Browns front office won't survive that storyline. That would literally be the talking point of every conversation after that point. Well, they could have had Shedeur, but they passed. Carter could never have enough sacks to beat that narrative. Okay, there's two things I want to say to this. One, this is just living in your fears, right? You're literally drafting Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward because you're afraid that they might be good somewhere else. That is not a way to operate with the draft. And if you're worried about them having a Shedeur Sanders or CJ Stroud like rookie season, you first have to ask the question, are they as good as prospects as CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels were? If the answer to that question is no, then it is not rational to live in the fear of what if they play much better than anybody expects them to be. The Browns are going to look stupid. Okay, whatever. Yeah, sure, that might be the case. But to add a counterpoint to what you're saying, that Abdul Carter could never have enough sacks to overcome the fact, this narrative that would be painted about the Cleveland Browns if they don't draft a quarterback and that quarterback ends up being any level of good. Well, Myles Garrett was drafted number 1 overall in 2017. He was not the best player in that class. Pat Mahomes was. Pat Mahomes was drafted in that class. Now, maybe this is because Pat Mahomes was better than people expected, but nobody has ever used that against the Cleveland Browns. Nobody has ever said, boy, the Cleveland Browns, they're just a mess up of an organization because they drafted Myles Garrett and not Patrick Mahomes. You never hear anybody say that because people understand that that is just using hindsight to a maximum degree. You are worried about what people are going to say about a take that would be super Captain Hindsight. This is not a way to operate a football team. Again, if you want to draft Shedeur or Cam and you think they're going to have a Jaden Daniels or CJ Stroud-like season, tell me to my face, while after you look at the film, that you think that that player is on par with what Jaden Daniels and CJ Stroud did in college. Nobody with any credibility is willing to say that. Daniel Jeremiah just went on, said what? That Shedeur would be the 7th ranked quarterback in the 2024 class, and that Cam Ward would be the 5th or 6th ranked quarterback behind Bo Nix. So you're worried about these guys being Jaden Daniels or CJ Stroud. They're not Jaden Daniels or CJ Stroud. If they were Jaden Daniels or CJ Stroud level prospects, we would be taking them at 2 with no questions asked. I promise you that. But living in a world where you're just hoping that they could be Jaden Daniels or CJ Stroud without them putting forth any evidence that they're that level of prospect is I don't know how, this is how insane the pre-draft process is. I am being made to seem irrational for having this opinion, which is the rational opinion in my mind, where it's like, hey, you cannot live and worry about if these dudes are going to be CJ Stroud or Jaden Daniels if you don't think they're the same level of prospect that CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels were. If they were in this class, if Jaden Daniels coming out of LSU was in this class, I'd be jumping to the podium, take quarterback at 2, and I'd be telling you how damn lucky the Cleveland Browns are that Jaden Daniels is there. If CJ Stroud coming out of Ohio State was there too, I'd be damn running to that podium, taking CJ Stroud at 2, talking about how damn lucky the Browns are that they fell into a draft where that was the outcome. This is just not it. I'm sorry. I'm not anti-quarterback, right? I want the Browns to draft a quarterback. I'm not saying this because I hate the idea of drafting. I love the idea of drafting a quarterback. But you're asking me to project that Jaden Daniels and CJ Stroud level outcomes are going to happen to prospects who just aren't Jaden Daniels and CJ Stroud. Like, we got to accept this at some point. We're trying to make it happen. But at no point during the regular season, while we were watching college football, did we think that these two were that? Why all of a sudden, when it comes time to hope, are we trying to equate the two? This is hopium. This is hopium. We're trying to hopium our way into inflating these quarterbacks into prospects that they just aren't. Cam Ward is a solid NFL prospect at quarterback, but he's not a number 2 overall no-brainer. Same thing with Shedeur Sanders. These are guys who typically go late first round, early second level prospects at quarterback. Not every draft class has a no-brainer, knock 'em out, drag down pick at number 2 to take a quarterback. Unfortunately, Browns fans, this is one of those draft classes. You can be like a team like Jacksonville when they took Blake Bortles, or New York when they took Zach Wilson, or the Bears when they took Mitchell Trubisky. We can reach if we want to, but understand that's what we be doing. And stop telling me the outcomes of what happens when you draft a quarterback who's actually worth the number 2 overall pick, like a CJ Stroud or Jaden Daniels. Don't tell me what's going to happen there. Right? Like that's where we're at. No, tell me the reality of what happens when teams reach for quarterbacks. Tell me how many teams won Super Bowls reaching for quarterback in the top 3. I'll wait. Everybody got all this evidence for why drafting a quarterback's a great idea. But then you scrutinize it a little bit, it falls apart. Like, seriously, who's reached for a quarterback at 2 and it's worked out? I got time. It's the offseason, brother. Send it to me. Send me that shit. Who reached? Who reached and it worked out? We talking about reaching here, ain't we? That's what we talking about. We reaching for a quarterback. Everybody wants to tell me what happens when you get a prospect that's worth the number 2 overall pick, like a CJ and Jaden, and telling me I need to be worried about one of these guys having that outcome. But that's not what this is, brother. Like, you can't tell me with a straight face that Shedeur or Abdur, not you, but nobody credible can tell me with a straight face that these are the same level of prospect that CJ Stroud or Jaden Daniels were. Nobody can say that about Cam or Shedeur. Not a lot of credible folk going to be saying that. So why are we acting like that's the case? Like, I can't be crazy because I'm the only one that sees the flaw in this logic, right? I can't be the only one. Sometimes it does feel like I am like one of 2 people who sees the flaw in this logic. We're thirsty for quarterback, y'all. We need to check our thirst levels. Drink some damn water. All right. Grass Bass says, my hot take is Tyler Shaw is going to be a 2nd round pick. I've been big on him since the Senior Bowl. The only problem with that is that Tyler Shaw is like 27 years old. I think he's 26. He's Brandon Whedon age. Like, he's old as Brandon Whedon was when he entered the league. So he's very old, and he wasn't successful enough when he was old to, I think, jump into the 2nd round. Another thing with Tyler Shaw that is a problem, he has a massive injury history, has not been healthy in college football. But yeah, he's old. Like, my man was Justin Herbert's backup. Shout out to Corey Kenneth for that pull. He brings that up in his articles often. It's a good point. Tyler Shaw was that Justin Herbert's backup in college. Yes. So that's the thing that Tyler has going against him. He's 27, which I think puts him firmly in day 3. Thank you for the question. Or not the question, the hot take. Kel Bell says, wait, Posick is only 30 next year and Luke Whippler will be 24. I know you're not a big fan of either, but do you care to shed more light on this? Why do we pay for a veteran center? I think you want more security at the position. Ethan Posick is coming off of back-to-back bad years, down years. We can blame Ethan Posick's lack of production last year on the switch of the offense, but the truth is he wasn't very good the year before when the Browns were running a very basic version of the Kevin Stefanski offense. So I don't think switching offense is going to help Poe. I think Poe's just not that good anymore. So I would move off of him. Luke Whippler would be fun if he can hold down the center position, but he is a 6th-round rookie who has not played much in the NFL. So you can't go through the offseason counting on Luke Whippler to be your starting center. I think that's a recipe for disaster. I think if you're the Browns, it makes a ton of sense to see what you could get in the veteran center market and spend some money there, especially with a guy being 26 at the top of the class. That makes a lot of sense to me. So, yeah, that's why I want to go for a center. I mean, it's not that I don't believe in Luke Whippler. It's just that's a lot to put on the back of a 6th-round rookie who, well, not rookie, but a 6th-round pick who hasn't really played much and is coming off of an injury. I think that's a bit much there. And Ethan Posick's play has been dipping rapidly enough to where I just want to get out of that before it truly bottoms out. And you can make the argument it did last year. Eric Ford says the Browns need to take an approach that the Bengals took in regards to Carson Palmer. He's talking about the Myles Garrett trade. Let him know that unless we find a trade offer that we can't refuse, you'll either be playing for us or you can retire. We drafted him, signed him to a large extension, and we have his contract. He agreed to that contract. I mean, I think this is the approach that the Browns are going to take. I don't think the Browns have any plans on moving Myles. I mean, like, they're not even entertaining it for the trade value. Like, they're not answering the phone about Myles Garrett. So, yeah, man, I think you're right on track with where the Browns are with this and how they view this. But that's it for Hot Takes. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.